Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Joanne here. Today I'm going to be showing you how to cut and sew this beautiful shirt dress you're seeing here with a fancy bias strip and a zipper in front, and also this fancy collar you're seeing here. Trust me, this tutorial is really going to be detailed. So if you want to watch something like this, if you're interested in something like this, do watch this video to the end. Don't forget to like and share this video if it is helpful to you. Also, do not forget to subscribe if you haven't done so yet. Please click the subscribe button and turn on your post notification bell for more videos. So without wasting much of your time, let's get into the cutting table. Now this is the fabric I'm going to be using for this tutorial. This is about 3 yards, so it depends on your size. You can get 4 yards. 4 yards will be fine if you're on a bigger side. So this is the black material I'm going to be using for, it's a crepe material I'm going to be using for the collar, and this is the zipper I'm going to be using. It is a long zipper. We need a long zipper for this tutorial. So now I have folded this fabric into two. This is the one in front, is the back, and this one here is the front. You know, the front, there's going to be zipper attached to it, so I have already added the zipper allowance, which is 1.5 inch. Then on this line here is the my start point line, so that line will also serve as the shoulder line. So from my measurement, from the measurement I'm going to be taking will be from this shoulder line. So from here I came down by 8 inches. That happens to be the bust line, and I also came down from the shoulder to the waistline, which is 15 inches. And I'm going to simply take my straight rule and draw this line across like this. Now I'm also going to draw this line, which is the waistline, across like this. Okay, now the next measurement I'm going to be taking would be from the shoulder measure, from the waist measurement. I am going to be taking the hip measurement. Okay, from the waist measurement I'm going to be taking the hip measurement. Right, let me go over this again. I drew out the starting point line, which is the shoulder measurement. The second line here is a bust line, and the third line here is the waistline. From the waistline I came down by 8 inches. This happens to be the hip measurement for this my client. All right, so after drawing these lines across, next thing I'm going to do now would be to take the length of this dress. So to take the length of this dress, I started from the shoulder measurement to take the measurement, and the measurement I have here is 38 inches. So I'm adding extra 0.5 inch allowance, so I'm going to be using that half inch to turn the lining. I hope you understand what I mean here. So I'm ruling this line across here. So having done this, I have gotten all the vertical measurements. Now next thing I'm going to do is to take the shoulder measurement. All right, so for the shoulder measurement of this my client, I'm going to be dividing that measurement by 2, and I'm going to be taking that measurement from here. Okay, remember I am marking on the back, not the front. Okay, it is the back I am marking this. All right, so this is the shoulder measurement divided by 2. Whatever I had, I imputed this, and I'm going to connect these 2 points together using my straight rule. Now next thing I'm going to do will be to come down here and take my shoulder slope, which is 1 inch. Now on the neck side, I'm going to come down for the neck depth. For the back side, I'm going to come down by 1 inch. Then from here, the neck width, I'm going to mark 3 inches. Okay, I'm now going to connect this neck like this, and on the shoulder slope I'm going to connect to meet to the neck width. All right, as you can see here. So now having done this, I am going to go over to mark the front neckline on this back part. Okay, I am doing this for the purpose of clarification. So now I am marking the front neckline 3.5 inches. Okay, so my client doesn't want this to be too revealing, but if you want yours to be very revealing, please go ahead and come down by 5 inches. All right, or 5.5 or 6, as the case may be. Now I have connected the neck width. Next thing I'm going to do now is to take the midpoint of my shoulder, which is whatever I had from the bust line to the shoulder slope, divided by 2 to mark the midpoint, and I came in by 0.5 inch. Now I am going to measure the bust. Okay, because I'm going to be connecting this armhole. All right, so to measure the bust, I divided the bust by 4, and whatever I had, I added extra 0.25 to that measurement. You know, there's supposed to be a little bit of ease on this dress. All right, so if you want yours to be very free, go ahead and add 0.5 inch. Now I'm connecting the armhole, as you can see. So after doing this, I am going to now extend this measurement. All right, I'm going to extend this measurement by 2 inches. This is my allowance. All right, so as you can see on the waistline, I am going to be marking the waist measurement from the folded part, excluding the zipper allowance. Don't forget, I divided that measurement by 4, added 0.25 inches. All right, so now I am connecting my measurement from my waist to meet to my bust, and on the hip line I am going to be taking the hip measurement divided by 4, and I'm going to be adding 0.25 also. That will serve as the ease. All right, then I'm adding extra 2 inches allowance like I did on the waist and on the bust. Now I am going to take my a slight curve now and curve this part from the waist down to the hip. Okay, having done this, I'm going to go over to the length and measure whatever I have on the hip. I'm going to be measuring it on the length. Now I am measuring, taking that measurement, I'm going to repeat that same measurement on the length like so. Now I am imputing, and I'm also adding extra 2 inches allowance for sewing. I am going to now take my rule and connect from the hip line to meet to the length like this, and also I'm going to be connecting the allowances from the hip line. I'm going to connect to meet to the length. Okay, then after doing this, I'm going to be connecting from my waist down to my hip line and also the bust line, just as I did when I was connecting the other my main measurement, the main measurement for this dress. Okay, as you can see, I'm connecting it using a slight curve, and I'm also going to connect it from the bust line to the waistline like this, and I'm now going to connect this to me to the armhole. Now having done this, I am going to now cut this. Okay, so what I'm doing here is that I'm trying to eliminate any form of pointiness around the hip line. Okay, so now I am going to be marking this, extend this neckline for the front. Remember, I'm marking on the back here, so I'm going to be extending it. When I'm cutting this out, I'll definitely extend it so that I will know the point I'm supposed to be marking on the front. Then for the armhole, remember we are cutting on the back. All right, they're marking on the back, so we are not going to cut on exactly on the point I came in by 0.5 for the arm midpoint on the armhole. I am going to mark it, just follow what I'm going to be doing. All right, so for the shoulder, I am extending that measurement by 0.5 inch. That would be my sewing allowance. Now I'm going to take my scissors and cut this. Please watch how I am cutting this. I'm cutting the back neckline first, and I'm now going to cut the shoulder. From the shoulder, I am now going to cut the armhole. Like I said, when I was marking this, I marked this on the back side, so you're going to cut it this way. Remember, you're not going to cut armhole, the midpoint. That is, you're not going to go in by 0.5 and cut on the back. So I'm cutting the back first. Okay, that's why I did not go in by 0.5 inch for the back. Now I am cutting the side. From here now, I am going to cut the length out. Okay, I hope you're following what I'm doing here. Please watch the video carefully and follow what I am doing here. Now I am cutting the length now, as you can see. So from here, I'm going to take the back out. Okay, basically I am done cutting the back. Now I am going to take this part out. Now before I take it out, I'm going to be extending that neckline, like I said, to the front. Okay, so that will serve as a guide for me to connect my front neck depth. Okay, so I'm going to be connecting my front neck depth to where I initially marked. Okay, so I'm going to now cut this out. Okay, now for the armhole, I'm going to be coming in by 0.5 inch. This is the front, and it is a must you do this. Okay, so I'm coming in by 0.5 inch, and I'm going to simply connect it back to my armhole. And after doing this, I am going to be cutting this out. Okay, I'm going to cut this out now. So I'm going to now cut the neck. All right, so this is the front piece. So because it has a zipper, I am going to open this up. Okay, I'm going to open this up. Don't forget to add your zipper allowance. So the zipper allowance I added for this is 1.5 inches. Okay, now for this down part, I am going to come up here by 3.5 inches. I am going to come up here by 3.5 inches. All right, so for here I'm going to come here by 3.5 inches. Then I'm going to make a point, and from here now I'm going to come in by 1.5 inch. That's supposedly the zipper allowance I marked. Okay, so now I'm going to now cut this out, take a straight rule and connect it down to me to the hem, and I'm going to be cutting this out. All right, you know, for the down part there's an opening there. Okay, so I'm going to cut this out now. Okay, so guys, this is what I have. I'm going to now go ahead now to cut the lining piece for both the front and the back, and I'm going to show you guys. Okay, having cut the lining, this is what I have here. This is the back and this is the front. So I cut the lining the same way I cut the the fashion fabric. Okay, so this is the front here. I have also opened the front lining, and for the front fashion fabric, this is how it is. The side that I opened that has the zipper allowance, remember the front has a zipper. Okay, so what I did was that I tucked in the zipper and I ironed this because I'll be needing that crease line, okay, for my bias strip to guide me when I'm going to be fixing this bias strip here. So I'm placing this bias strip now, and I'm going to be sewing this. So now I'm placing this here close to the kettle line here that I initially made. Okay, remember the line that I ironed? I'm placing it close to it. Okay, now I am going to take my pin now, and I'm going to pin it because, you know, I'm going to pin it. I want to achieve a neat job, so just pin yours and follow the pin. While you're sewing it, you're removing your pin, and you know, so that everything will stay in place and align, okay, for a neater job. I hope you understand what I'm doing here. Now place the bias strip very close to the kettle line. Okay, I hope you get what I'm doing here. All right, so after doing this, I am going to now on the hem, on the down part, remember, see where I left half inch where I cut out. So I left half inch from that part because I'm going to be using that part to turn my lining, as you can see. All right, so this is how I am doing this. Okay, I'm going to now cut this out, cut the excess out, and take it to my sewing machine and run a tiny stitch. Okay, I'm going to run a tiny stitch like this from the beginning, from the top here to the bottom, and on this side too. Now I am going to be doing the same thing for the other part, and I'll show you guys the outcome. Having done that, this is what I have. Okay, this is what I have here. Now this is how the bias strip is laid. I have not ironed it yet, so this is the part that I left. Have you seen the part that I ironed in the zipper allowance part? Remember, this is how it is. I have already folded this in. I'm cutting the excess bias strip on the neck parts. Okay, then I'm going to now turn my lining for the front. Okay, now I'm going to place my lining like this, and I'm going to simply turn this lining. And know that when you're turning your lining, you're going to start from the down part. Please, when you're turning your down lining, start from the down part and sew your lining. You're placing your lining on the right side of the fashion fabric like this. Okay, you're not going to turn the neckline. Remember, we are going to be adding collar to this, so you're only going to sew the both sides. All right, only going to sew the both sides and the down parts. So what I'm doing here is that I'm cutting the excess lining that is on the neck and the shoulder. Okay, so you're going to sew the side and the two sides and the down parts But first you're going to sew this down part here, and you're going to turn it. So you sew it, sew the side, sew the both sides, and top stitch. And I'm going to do that for both sides and the back and show you guys the outcome. So now, having done that, all right, I have sewn the down part. As you can see, I have sewn the side, this is the back, and this is the front right here. Now I am going to show you guys how it is. I've not turned the neckline. Okay, as you can see, I've not turned the neckline. I'm going to be attaching the collar. So for this part here, I made a notch around that corner, okay, because I want it to lay flat when I'm ironing this. All right, now I am going to be turning this to show you guys. I have turned this over to the right side. This is what I have. This is the bias strip, this is the zipper line. Okay, now this is the neckline. I have stitched the neckline down. All right, I have stitched because I don't want it to be moving about. Now I am going to be fixing the zipper. Okay, so to fix the zipper now, I am going to be placing this, like the zipper like this. All right, the wrong side of the zipper, right side of the zipper, sorry, facing the right side of the fashion fabric. And I'm going to, when I'm fixing it from this head, I'm going to come down by 0 let me say 0.4 or 0.5 inches. From there I am going to be placing this. Okay, I'm going to be placing it like this, very on that kettle line. Okay, that's the reason why I iron that line. So after that, this is what I have here. I have fixed the zipper. This is what I have here. Let me open this for you to see, and also I'm going to turn the back for you guys to see how it is, and it's looking very neat. I have not ironed this yet. Okay, so the zipper is looking neat, and this is what I have. Now I am going to be sewing the shoulder together. So I'm bringing down the back piece to the front piece now, placing right sides facing each other. So to sew the shoulder now, this is what I'm doing here. Please watch carefully. So I am going to trim off this excess lining I'm having here on the back piece. Now I am going to turn this by taking the lining for the back piece. Okay, I'm going to take the lining, as you can see, take this lining like this and flip it over. Okay, now the lining is facing the front lining and the fashion fabric are facing each other. I'm going to pin this down here, and I'm going to go to my sewing machine and sew here by 1/2 inch. Okay, now I'm going to do to this other side and show you guys the outcome. After that, I'm going to be sewing the side. Okay, I'm going to be sewing by the allowance I have here left on the side, and also to this other side here. So now this is what I have after I was done sewing the shoulder and the side, and I went ahead to iron this. Okay, so whatever you're sewing, make sure you give it a good press. All right, iron it very well. As you're ironing it, you're going to be seeing how neat your work will be. Now I am going to measure this neck line, because next thing I'm going to do will be to fix the collar. So I'm taking these measurements here, measure this around. All right, so whatever I have, I am going to be using that to cut the collar. Okay, so measure your neckline, whatever you have, do the same. Whatever you have, sorry, use it to cut your collar. Okay, you do not want to run short of don't want your collar to be shorter, okay, than your neckline. So this is the fabric I'm going to be using for the collar. I'm going to fold this like this. So if you like, you can fold this, you can fold this in a bias form. All right, it doesn't really matter. If you like, fold this on a bias form. If you like, you fold it this way, it will still come out the same. Now I am going to cut out 2.5 inch on fold. Okay, I'm cutting this out so that it will be easier for you guys to see. Now this is what I have here, and I'm going to measure the length of the neckline, the length of the neck, okay, for both the front and the back that I measured initially. I'm going to be taking that measurement on this long strip here, okay, which will serve as my collar. I'm marking here 1/2 inch. Initially I thought I was going to turn that part, but I ended up not turning that part. So follow me as I go. Now after doing this, I'm going to cut out this excess here, right here, cutting it out. And for this part, I'm going to cut out any excess I have here. So next thing I'm going to do now would be to take these measurements around here. This is 3 inches. I'm going to take this measurement so I can trim off any excess that I may be having. Now I am going to be trimming the excesses out. As you can see here, I'm trimming off the excesses. So I'm just trimming off and trimming off to make sure everything is neat and straight. All right, so just basically just trimming off. That's what I'm doing here. So next thing I'm going to do now after trimming this out is that I am going to fold this into two, and I'm going to be cutting out this part here. All right, I'm going to be cutting out this part here because for this part is supposed to be a bit curvy. All right, so this is how I am. This does not really have any measurement. You can cut it anyhow you want it, okay? So just cut it. See the way I'm cutting it here. Follow what I'm doing. I'm going to measure this down part here. All right, after cutting, please measure here so that you know that it is going to align with your neck measurements, all right, the one you measured. So measure it. So after taking that measurement, I realized it was too long, so I had to cut it out, and I'm going to simply remeasure this for you guys to see. All right, so carefully measure this, and what I have here is exactly 19.025. Now I am going to bring the garments, and I'm going to be placing this for you guys to see how it's going to fit in. All right, so it is important to note that I ironed an air stay to this off camera. All right, I iron an air stay to this, so soft air stay, gum stay, sorry. So you can iron your soft paper stay, all right, or gum stay to this to give it some sort of stability. All right, so I'm just placing this to know that I am on the right track, that everything is in place. Now this is what I have here. Everything has aligned. I'm going to take to my machine and sew this. After sewing, this is what I have. I am going to overlock this part here. All right, so this is how it is. This is what I have. Everything is in place. So this is what I have. Like I said, if you want your neck to be wider, please, you can make it wider by coming down on the neck depth. All right, so this is the armhole. I am going to be trimming the armhole. This is the sleeve, and I'm going to be fixing on my armhole. All right, on the armhole of the dress. I did this off camera for the sake of time, but I have a short video on how you can fix the bias strip to the sleeve. All right, so I'm going to be trimming the armhole to fit the sleeve. All right, I'll do that off camera and show you guys the outcome after fixing the sleeve. So this is what I have after fixing the sleeve. This is how it is. Everything is in place. Everything is looking very neat. Like I said, I have a short video on how you can fix the bias strip. All right, if you're interested, you can check it out. It's on my channel. Okay, so this is it. Everything is looking very neat, very neat. Okay, I'm going to overlock the neck part like I said. So this is how it is. And guys, thank you so much for sticking around to watch this video to the end. Please don't forget to make this dress and wear and comment. Also drop a comment for me on the outcome. Tag me also if you wish, and see you guys in my next one.